Martin and welcome to another great edition of MP Astro. At the moment, as you can see here, we've got a very large, bulky Maxitov 180 telescope. And as you can see here, this is quite a heavy setup to lug around, to carry around, to put it on a mount, okay? And over the years, I've had telescopes that are much bigger than this, weighing about 50 to 60 kilograms, and sometimes lugging that kind of weight around can actually dampen the fun at astronomy. Now, the best advice I can always give to you guys and girls is when you're buying or considering any telescope, think about the cost, the aperture, what you're going to use the telescope for, and above all, buying a telescope that's ideally suited for your needs. In other words, if you buy a telescope that's too big, you're going to hardly use it. And believe me, you can spend a ton of money, and if you bought something that's really big and bulky, I can guarantee you now that you will hardly use it unless you are absolutely dedicated to the hobby. So there are many attributes and decisions you've got to make when you consider a telescope. Now, the main purpose of this video is we ain't going to get any younger. Because of my injury on my hand, has actually limited on what I can do, and there are certain telescopes that I'm struggling to move around, and a lot of it is I've had to carry it with both hands, but I can't do that now. So I've been looking around, having a look what I can find that's going to help me carry telescopes onto my mount, hopefully avoid using my injured hand. I was looking at these two cool products from Farpoint. So before we start the video, please hit a like button, and again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe onto the channel. So please share this video out, and again, this video might help a lot of people. Now, at the moment, I've had a few subscribers inform me about certain things, and at the moment YouTube's been plain funny at the moment, which is a bit strange, and some of my subscribers have complained to me that they've not received their notifications. So if you already have subscribed onto my channel, please check your subscription. So if whatever means, just log on, check your subscription, and just re-tick the bell, okay, the notifications bell, because at the moment there's a fair few people have missed out a lot of videos and they've not received any notifications. So just check your subscription and just hit that bell. If it's unticked, just tick it again. I don't know what is going on, but I've had a few problems myself. I've also subscribed to a few channels, and I know there's a fair few good astrophotography channels that I'm subscribed to as well, and some strange reason I've just not received any notifications from them as well, which is quite frustrating. So if you're having difficulties and you've not received anything, just please tick that bell again. Sometimes I've had to unsubscribe and then resubscribe again onto certain channels. I don't know what is going wrong with YouTube at the moment, but please, if you do that for us, just recheck it so you don't miss out. So that's the only thing I have to say about this. So from that on, enough of the waffle. I'm going to show you these two products that I found. So if you're interested and you want to find out more, keep watching and let's do this. So we'll take a closer look on these products, and here's one. Here we have a Farpoint dovetail adapter with a carrying handle. Now this is like a D style handle, And as you can see, we take a closer look. These have already been opened up, so obviously I've had to test them out. We'll take them all out, and as you can see, with 4-point, like always, very high quality aluminium CNC parts. Now this adapter is made to clamp onto a Lost Mandy style dovetail, and I do like this black ionized and blue ionized components here, and you do get really good quality stainless steel. I think they're stainless steel, but they will look like stainless steel. Yeah, the stainless steel cap socket bolts. Now, as you see, the price for this was around £55. There are various prices between £49 to £55. You can get these available from Rother Valley Optics or 365 Astronomy. They're the only retailers that I know that actually deal with 4-point. Now, like always with 4-point, these items, this handle setup weighs between around 200, maybe 300 grams. So it's quite lightweight, even though it's heavy duty. But as you can see, you can look at the sheer quality on that, and that's what you want. So at the moment, what I found that you don't get any tools with it, which is a real shame. I would like to have seen you get a Allen key like this one. Now this is a 3/16 Allen key. You'll need this size to assemble the handle. Okay, so there's a certain way you can do onto this handle, and to do that it's quite easy. You see the recess holes here, you just line them up like so. It doesn't matter which way you want to put the clamp, but you want the clamp to be facing away from the handle like so. You then place your Allen socket head screws like so in the middle. Okay, you then get your 3/16 and you just line them up first like so. Just bear with me. Right, so you get your 3/16, just tighten them up. Okay, so just quick tug like so. Get them tight, but don't over tighten them so you strip the threads. So you just nip them up using an Allen key like this. That should be enough torque. You may wish to put any Loctite on the threads. It really is up to you. Now there's one thing I have to highlight, is when this was brand new, you'll see that if I take these parts out, this knob out, this slides out. Okay, now what I found when I first used it, that these pins, they are well made. These steel pins are very strong, but what I found out that they tend to catch on the aluminium. So what you can do is use a bit of lithium grease, like this Geo Optic grease, and you can just put a tiny film of grease on those pins. So you dab a bit of grease on there, okay, and you only put a little bit, okay, you only put a little bit on those pins all the way around. You do not want to be putting any grease along the clamping recess, okay. You just want to lubricate those pins, and maybe you can put a bit of grease on the threading on the screw itself. Once you've done that, all you got to do is then work the grease in like so. Work it in, okay, so the pins slide in and out like so. That's one thing I have noticed with this product. When I first used it, these pins had a habit of jamming into the aluminium clamping system, and that's not good. You want a very positive, very easily freed up system. So a bit of grease helps. Avoid putting grease along the recess here on both sides. You do not want any grease in on that position. So once you've done it, that should be enough for the clamping system to work effectively. Alright, doesn't matter what type of grease you use, but I find that used grease is better than just using oil, because oil is very messy, plus oil will get onto the locking mechanism on this sleeve, and you don't want any oil to get in there. So please use a grease. Doesn't matter what grease you use, as long as it grease up those pins, alright, it makes it free to rotate. So now this is now moving very freely, and it's not mooring against the aluminium. So that's basically the whole assembly, right? There's nothing much to it, alright? That's all there is to it. Now I bought two of these. I bought the D style one. Again, this is the same price as the as this one, but this one's like a full gripped handle one. And again, this is very useful for really bigger telescope setups. But I bought two of them because after buying that, I was well impressed. I love both of them, so I got two of them just in case. So same setup with this one. This is exactly the same assembly with the screws and lubricating those pins with a bit of grease. That's more or less the same, okay? Both the same price and the same sort of setup. They're very easy to assemble and it takes less than 5 minutes. So as you can see here, we've got our telescope service 115mm triplet Apple refractor. Now I'm just going to show you the certain parts have come through for the Pegasus Astro Powerbox. Now this is the Powerbox Advance. If you've not seen that video, please check out the link at the top. I did a review on this Powerbox. But what I'm going to show you is what wasn't on the video. I'm going to show you the these brackets. Now these are the brackets I was talking about. As you can see here, they're just normal simple brackets, and there's two of them. So they are mounted on the Lost Mandy dovetail and they fit perfectly. Now as you can see, it's a bit hard to see because they are bolted with 4 Allen screws. They're like metric 3 screws, and they've got a metric 4 screw that goes through with a washer and to a plate like so. Now I had to cut these down because they were quite long, and you can see there I've cut them down to size. These were literally about 2 inch long, but they came with the nut and washers. You can see here a little bit better. That's what they look like. And then basically these screws just screw onto the box and they just mount straight through the plate. On this one I've had to drill the hole through the dovetail. Okay, so if you do your working out, you can have the setup in a way that suits you. Okay, it really depends on your setup, but what I've done it is that now this is a lot more secure than what it was with the Velcro. Now I still have to use the Velcro for the PSU for my CCD, but as you can see, that is well secured. That's going nowhere. That's all bolted in, very, very secure. And to be honest with you, the Velcro that I did initially use is okay, but to be honest with you, this is much better. Now the price for these bracket sets, to be honest with you, I wasn't particularly happy about paying, because I thought they were a bit on the pricey side. But to be honest with you, it's well worth it, but the cost should be a lot less. These brackets for the set, for the screws, the bracket itself, they cost £29, but you do get 2 of these with the bolts and the screws and all that. So £29. I thought, yeah, a bit pricey, but to be honest with you, after fitting it, it's a lot more secure now, and it's a lot better. So now, where I've done my Lost Mandy dovetail, it might have had a bit of weight, but the reason why I had this dovetail, this Lost Mandy dovetail, is that I can mount my power box and my guide's camera and guide scope on there. The other thing why I got the Lost Mandy dovetail top plate here is so that I can fit my adapter, okay, this handle here. Now if you really do your homework, you can really figure out a perfect size setup for you. Now this Lost Mandy I've used is 11 inches long. It's added a bit of weight to the setup, but I picked that extra long Lost Mandy dovetail so that I can have the ability to do this. So if I take the 50mm guide scope, I then get my 4-point handle and I clip it on there like so. So you slide it in there, so that's clamped in there like so. I then place my guide scope above that. So lock the screws on there. And there you go. As you can see here, where I've designed and figured out my dimensions and all that, I've got enough gap for where the bracket sits that mounts the power box, and I figured out that the guide scope, where it's mounted on this special clamping system, that's right to the edge, and this handle here fits perfectly. It's only slightly just touching the guide scope, right? So if I zoom in there, you can just see that it's just touching. There's a little bit of a gap, but it's enough so that I can focus my guide scope setup like so. So it's just on the chamfer there, but it's not touching the guide scope. Now I've done the measurements on the handle, and I'm just gonna, so I've done the measurements and I've measured this handle, okay, and just bear with me. So from the handle it works out around about 3 inches or 75mm that way, okay. So when you always use the handle, make sure when you're slacking it out, okay, make sure that the handle is sitting flush with this ridge here. So if it's fitted into the ridge, you then, like always, tighten up. You don't need to be super tight, just tight enough so you can't turn the knob. Please get into the routine of every time you lift the telescope is just check the security of this handle. Before you do anything, just double check the tightness, making sure that the clamping sits right. If you don't do that, chances are that this could come off and then your telescope, expensive telescope, will come crashing onto the floor, and you don't want that. So please get in the habit of just checking the clamping and checking that knob is tight. Once that's done, you can safely lift the telescope off the mount. And that's all I got to say. There's nothing much on it other than that. So as you can see here, after we check security of the handle, we're going to take off the entire telescope setup. So folding anything you have in the way, and what I do is I'm going to grab a good firm grip here. Where it's designed, the handle, I'm not putting pressure on the guide scope, alright, I'm not touching it. So as I slacken off both the Lost D bracket from the mount, I can take it off in a wanna. And as you can see, I've taken the whole setup in seconds. Unfortunately, with my Newtonian, I've got a 10-inch Lost D dovetail bracket, and the problem with this setup is I've only got enough space to put my guide scope and my Pegasus Powerbox. So it's a real shame that I can't put the carrying handle on here. Now for a heavy setup like this, I find that using the D or the closed loop handle is better for the bigger telescopes like your Schmidt Cassegrains or your Newtonian reflectors, big aperture telescopes. And I find that this is more ample for that particular use. But it really depends on your setup. Some people might prefer the other handle on the refractor or this type. Now this type does not fit very well on my triplet 115mm Apo, because this handle is quite big. It's literally about 4 inches, and it's literally, I can't get it on there because it's then in the way of the guide scope. So this handle is not really suitable for the refractor. However, this is brilliant for this setup. Now because I've got two dovetails, I have the two Lost D 4-point dovetails in there, and the only way, because this is I have to carry the telescope both hands, which I can't do. So what I found is on this side I can mount this bracket on there without no hassle, and same detail. All I do is clip on there like so, pan across, same detail. You get your 4-point handle like so, and like always, clip it in there very loose, and then making sure get it nice and central like so. Check, see if it's clamped both ends and it's not crooked. Again, when you're using these handles, always check the knob is nice and secure before you lift it. So likewise, we've got the handle secured, and all I do now is just tilt it to one side. Then I can just lift the whole setup like that. And as you can see, the guide scope and all that and the setup is all upside down. But this is just temporary to move the telescope with one hand across to my setup. Okay, this is what I'm going to use this handle for. So yeah, massive difference there. I can safely now carry this up to the MP Astro observatory shed. And by getting a grip, I can now safely take my whole setup to my MP Astro shed, just like this. So, as you see, got the setup ready to go. But before we start mounting it onto our EQ6 mount, I'm just gonna like to give you an update on the AMD saddle. Now, as you can see, I've greased up the pins as well because these have a habit of sticking. So just put a bit of lithium grease or something like that just to lubricate those pins so they can slide in and out. Now, on the saddle, as I mentioned, if you've not seen that product review, I featured this AMD saddle plate which accepts any Vixen and any Lost Mandy dovetail. Personally, when you're using heavy scopes, you should use the heavy duty Lost Mandy without a doubt. So if you've got scopes that are quite heavy and robust, this is what you're going to need. Now, the biggest flaw that I highlighted was these. From the last video, I mentioned that they use stainless steel socket cap screws. Again, they're only 1/4, and what amazes me is that they are quite small screws that hold a considerable amount of weight, considering it's about 20 kilograms. Right, is an ideal payload for this on this telescope mount. So as you can see there, I've ordered these from WDS Components. These are 12.9 high tensile strength bolts, and these are steel. And now, the reason for the 12.9 is they've got a very high tensile shear strength, which means that these are not going to shear very easily. Okay, so I've put the link in the description below to order the exact same size as these, and these fit perfectly on there. Alright, they're not sticking out along the saddle plate, they just fit in nice and easy. The only thing I'll be wary is to make sure, because they're steel, they probably might need to be at least paint the heads to matte black or something. Just give it some bit of protection, because these might rust. If they start rusting, then please just retreat them again and then just stop them from rusting. So paint the heads like so. But apart from that, this is uber strong. Alright, this is not gonna break, believe me. Alright, so those 12.9 high tensile steel is what you really need. Ideally, they should have done it as 3/8. I have no idea why AMD have done that particular size, but there'll probably be a good reason behind it. But apart from that, at least I've got decent socket head screws that ain't gonna snap. So then, guys and girls, we're going to lift the whole set up, and as you can see, very easy to fit in there. And as you can see, because with one hand, you might need to use two hands to line it up, but as you can see, I'm clamping the telescope in there like so. And look how easy it is now. So we're just gonna loosen the cable. Okay, like so. I might need to rebalance the scope because I'm using the QHY 183M mono camera. So it's a little bit lightweight compared to the other QHY9. So I need to rebalance that again. But as you can see, straight away, the handle here, because I've got a good grip at it, again I can have all the setup in there, the camera and all that, not a problem. I can mount it on the EQ mount very easily. That's literally cut half the time of setup. That 4-point handle, because I've got a good grip of it, I can lift the whole setup, put it on the mount very easily. And the amount of time I've just saved there just by doing that, it goes a long way. And I could leave that grip on there. Alright, you can remove it if you wish, but you can always take it off if you wish. But for my setup here, because it's where it's mounted, I don't need to worry about it. I can just leave it in there and that's it, and then off you go. But as you see, very, very handy piece of equipment from 4-Point, and I would highly recommend it to anyone, particularly for yourselves. If you've got something, if you're injured in one hand or any disability that sort of restricts you, then this is going to make it a little bit easier for you guys and girls. Alright, it's not a necessity, but it might be a necessity for a lot of people that have problems. And as you can see there, I put it on there without any struggle. So I hope this video helps. Again, please hit a like button if you like what you see. And again, with things going on with YouTube, just recheck. If you subscribe onto my channel, just check your notifications. If the bell's not hit, just re-tap the bell, and then you should get notified for any new videos coming out soon. So I hope this video helped you. Please look forward to another video coming very, very soon. The only downside, I need to wait for any clear skies, and hopefully, wish me luck, and then look forward to a new video coming out soon. So thanks again, thanks for watching, and I wish you all clear skies.